for now, we'll hop into the next segment, which is, like I say, the tier list that I nabbed off of Damien. Shout out to the lookout for the tier list and for the idea. Love you guys and the work that you guys do. But yeah, we nabbed the tier list. I edited it a little bit and just removed some of the tiers. But we got tier 0 should be banned, tier 1 meta defining, tier 1.5 high competitive, and then this is like tier 1.5, but it's reliant on the pilot being strong. Tier 2 has competitive potential. Tier 3 rogue, tier 4 is like locals, and tier 5 is actual trash. There's really not going to be much to differentiate between the bottom 2 tiers. And there's also, to be honest, not going to be much to differentiate between tier 1.5 and tier 2, I don't think. Or even tier 2 and tier 3. I think the lines get a little bit blurred in the middle. But yeah, we'll see. I wanted to initially start it just doing the anniversary box leaders, so you can see I've ordered it so that they're at the top. All of the decks that got support in the anniversary box there. But we'll continue and see how far we can go, because there's, you know, a bunch of leaders on here that could be considered to have good potential this meta, and there's a regionals for us next weekend, so I'll give you guys my opinions on stuff I might as well. And then also there's a couple of leaders here that got like support in the Z extra cards from regionals pricing, and they also just got like the odd card of support, like the baby and the Cumber and the Piccolo, etc. So yeah, we'll hop into it. Starting off with Red Cooler. I think this is a really strong pick at the moment. It's going to be kind of dependent on the meta, and I think it also requires a really strong pilot, but I think it has good potential. I'm going to put it in tier 1.7, because I don't think it's a deck that you can pick up and play, and I think it's a deck you really have to grind, and you have to prepare the sideboard for the meta really well. But I think I'm terrified of it. I'm terrified of this deck, I'm not going to lie. Jiren... Jiren is good, but is it good enough? I think I'm gonna still put it in Rogue. It's like, it could definitely be in tier 2. It's not competitive, but it has potential. But I'm gonna try and be harsh with my rating, because it's very possible that I put all of the anniversary box leaders into the tier 2 category, because they all, in theory, they all now have potential. But we haven't seen what they can do, so it's really hard to gauge. So I'm going to try and not do that, which is why I'll be a little bit harsher with the anniversary box leaders, either bumping them up one or putting them down one, maybe a little bit preemptively. But yeah, I think Jiren in Rogue is fine. If you don't know what he's going to do, he can rob you easy, otherwise he's just red deck. Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, I think whilst the new support is great for the deck, I don't think that it really... it doesn't really fix the deck's issues or change what the deck wants to do in any major way. So whilst it's definitely better, I don't think it kind of takes it to the next tier in a way. Gohan, I think I'm gonna put this in Rogue as well. Maybe even no, I'll keep it in Rogue for now. I do think the 8-drop boss monster it got is really nice, but there'll be some matchups where it just doesn't do anything against them. They remove the boss monster and then they kind of continue. In fact, no, I'm definitely putting this in Rogue, because I just remembered the Z deck exists now, and a lot of the Z deck cards are going to be under 25k, especially in black. Like, you play against a black deck with this deck now, and you drop the boss monster and you're like, okay, got some good value on my turn, swung, is it double strike, dual attack, minus 30k a guy, and now you can't really play the game because you're black and most of your cards are going to be like 25, 30, 35k, right? But then black just goes, okay, pay 1 margin boo, it's a 5k, I'll eat the 8-drop and just continue to play, right? So yeah, I think because of the existence of the Z deck in general, just having like a lot of solid removal, and then like in other colors, like against green, the 8-drop is just dying to anything. I don't think this deck is boosted massively. I think Pan is boosted massively. I think I'm going to put Pan in tier 1.5. I don't think it's tier 1. I don't think it's meta defining, but I think it's very high competitive. I think that deck is scary with the new stuff. Like, the deck has finally got some good removal with the new pan from the anniversary box, and I think the draw power that it got kind of makes it go crazy. Schumann Sao said cheating out the Z leader is situational because not waiting until 2 loses some of its bonuses on Z Awaken. I wish the Z drop 6 drop cheats out was on an activate main battle. I do agree with you there. I think if it was an activate main battle, it would be super nice. But I also think some matchups you will just wait till 2 life anyways, and then you can get like the full bonus of being able to combo once on the leader and then twice on the Z leader. That is super nice. But yeah, I don't. But the other thing as well is the 6 drop lets you take life, which is so good for the deck. The 6 drop kind of makes the deck into potentially an aggro deck, which is really cool. Because I've always played it as super control-y deck, but I think the 6 drop kind of, you can play it super aggressively now as well, which is really interesting. But yeah, it is very situational. But there are definitely times where you just want to Z Awaken because it's 20k base and you can get free combos. Like, I never think that Z Awaken is bad to go into. It's just you do lose a little bit of value sometimes, which is a bit of a shame. Miracle Strike Gogeta. I haven't even read what the cards do, but I'm going to put it in actual trash. I'm sorry, Damien. I think you agreed with me earlier, so hopefully it's not too offensive, but we're putting it in actual trash. Angel Halo. It really pains me to put it in casual locals. I really want to put it in Rogue. Is it Rogue, though? Realistically? I don't know. I love this deck to the end of the earth, but I don't know if it makes Rogue. Because the main way it finishes is either you draw Beast Gohan and they don't have an out to Beast Gohan, and you just burn them and swing crits with them and big bodies that you can restand, or you drop Oob, or they don't have barrier removal for the 6 drop. But every deck should have barrier removal for the 6 drop nowadays. Oob, people can just play around it if they're decent and they just don't build up Z energy. Or at least if they're building up Z energy, they then just spend it each turn to make sure that you're not on 2 Z energy going into each of your opponent's turns. Like, this deck really has no way to end games other than just outgrinding opponents, and then it will just deck out or time out. And I think solely for the reason that time rules exist, I'm going to put it in casual or locals. I think just because of time rules, it can't go higher. But is it better than Red Jiren, though? I don't know. It's like really between these 2 tiers. You guys agree? It's just not in Rogue? Okay. In that case, I will not put it in Rogue. I'll listen to you guys. You guys are the voice of reason here. Yo, Northeast guys, thank you very much for the Prime. Much appreciated, guys. Man, yeah. Yeah, you guys are the voice of reason. I'll not be biased. I'll put it in locals. It's really sad. I love this deck. I was even going to play it for finals last year. But yeah. It's a locals deck. Red Jiren can at least end games in best of 1. That's the thing. I think time rules honestly just completely screws the deck over, because there is definitely surprise factor to the deck. You will catch so many people off guard, but just the fact that you know to play around Oob when you play against a blue deck that plays like that, you should naturally just play around Oob if you play against a blue deck. And then, yeah, if you don't have Oob, you're going to probably just lose to time before you can set up a big Beast Gohan turn, which is generally around turn 6 or 7 anyways. So with all of the Angel Halo cycling and then explaining what your cards do to your opponent, and then your opponent taking a little bit of time as well, yeah, I think time rules honestly screws the deck over in a competitive environment. Android 16, Tom, give me your input here. I'm leaning towards casual locals along with Angel Halo. I think if Angel Halo is casual locals, I think Android 16 is also casual locals. Hopefully you agree with me. But yeah, Again, I love the deck. Super cool deck. But I don't think it makes the cut anymore. Vegito, again, I don't know what the cards do. We're putting it in actual trash. I remember reading the cards and thinking they looked trash. I know that they play the Unison out over and over, and I think the Unison is super bad. So we're just putting it in actual trash. I've not tried the support, but I think it's enough to put the deck back into Rogue. Gets eaten by meta decks. Yeah, I think I agree with that for now. Full-size power Son Goku or Quad Ku. I think this deck has potential. I'd put it in tier 2 or tier 3, I think. I really don't know which. I think I'll put it in Rogue just because, let me check the pan, because I don't think the pan has any protection, and I think for that reason we put it in Rogue. Because it's one of those decks where if you don't know what it does, and you just play 4 battle cards, or you don't counterplay the pan in some way, you will just get run over. But as soon as the deck becomes, like, I can't put it in tier 2 because as soon as the deck is considered to be competitive, it would be, like, people would just know what to do against it, right? SCR and the Anniversary Box is made for this deck. Was it actually? I don't know what, let's see. Oh yeah, of course, because it's a GT leader, right? It's a Son Goku GT. Choose all your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, KO them, deal 1 damage to your opponent. Play this card, play up to 4 pan cards or GT cards. Oh yeah, okay, it does work with the deck. I mean, the only annoying thing is that it just clears the opponent's board, which is the opposite of what you're trying to do with the deck. But if you swing Quad Strike when they're on like 5 life, and then just burn them 1, it's not bad, I guess. But in that case, would you not run like... I guess Cell Max is like... Yeah, it's not really a guaranteed burn in the sense. Yeah, that's fair. GT Goku Leader's a strong start for it. Not made specifically for the deck. Yeah. Yeah, you got options. Again, because it's a green deck, like that's the thing with green decks right now, is you can play so many SCRs to just catch people off guard on best of 1 terms. It is phenomenal. Looks away for a few minutes to get off train and sees Gogeta being at the bottom of the tier list. Yeah, in fact, it's not at the bottom. Hang on, let me readjust that. There you go. There, it's at the bottom now. I haven't really ordered the tiers or anything. I'm not gonna actually do that, don't worry. Hellfighter 17. This deck is still casual locals tier, right? What did the deck actually get? It got consistency piece in the 1-drop. It got a nice mid-range tool, and it got a free negate. I mean, the free negate is so nice. I love free negates. But I'm putting it in casual locals. Get that shit in trash, honestly. It's a consistency piece and a free negate. The 4-drop is shit. The 4-drop shit? It doesn't look that bad. I mean, it's no protection, which I guess is... It's got no deflect or barrier. I'm putting it in casual locals. I think it... Yeah, but I don't want to put it on the same tier as Angel Halo 116. Okay, you're right. I'll put it in actual trash. I can't do that to myself and my boys out there. Turlers. Now, this deck is really cool. I think I'm still putting it in casual locals. I don't think it's Rogue. I don't think it's on Red Durin levels yet. I'm not sure. That effect to restand 3 and KO ignoring barrier is so nice, but it's also 2 energy. And granted, the deck does nice stuff for free. Green Saiyan? I mean, yeah, it's a Green Saiyan. But, like... I don't know. I think it's casual local still. I don't think it makes it to Rogue, unfortunately. But the Z Leader is so good. But you have to run the balls, and I think the ball package is still shit. But I mean, you can just run the balls and then run Meki to search them and declare a card name. Maybe it's Rogue. I have put Quad Ku in Rogue, so... I'll put it to Rogue. I'll put it to Rogue because of the fact you can run it control and aggro. So there's 2 builds. And people can get caught off guard by one or the other. That seems fine. Sin. Sin is sin. I'll put Sin in tier 2. I don't want to put it straight into highly competitive. He's a weaker Gohan. Green Saiyan with crits, strong draw, filler engine. True. Testing Turles and I only have the balls, nothing else. Yeah, I don't think you even run like the Xeno stuff, to be fair. I don't really remember what it does, but I think it's like a blocker, which isn't really what the deck's trying to do anyways. Yeah, I'll happily put it in Rogue. That's a fair what's the word? Deducement? I don't even know. Sin, definitely tier 2. Has potential. I wouldn't say it's like high competitive at the moment, but it deduction, thank you. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's high competitive at the moment, but it can definitely slot in there. And worst case scenario, it will definitely slot into Rogue tier if it doesn't make it up here. Helku, I think this is perfectly in Rogue. I think Helku, if you don't expect the Dragon Fist stuff, and especially with the new card that stops your opponent using extra cards as well, or is it extra cards or non-extra cards? I don't remember. It's one of them, and then the Dragon Fist stops the others anyways. Yeah, your opponent can't activate extra skills in any area. So like if you don't expect that and you just go down to 2 life and then they swing with Dragon Fist and all of your battle card skills, no, all of your non-extra card skills and your extra card skills are just completely negated, is kind of, yeah, it's in my eyes, it's the definition of Rogue Where if you don't know what the deck does, it is going to kill your ass. Dragon Fist is uninteractable now. Yeah, exactly. It's definitely good. Gotenks, I don't know what this deck does. I really can't lie. The new cards seem good, but they don't seem insane for the deck. I don't want to put it higher than these decks necessarily, but I also think it could have potential. It's definitely either has potential or Rogue. I think for now I'll just put it in Rogue because that seems fair. He's had a lot of random support cards. Yeah, exactly. There's so many random like TPs and little promo cards here and there that come out for the deck. I don't know what it does. I just have no clue. So I'm just going to stick it in Rogue because based on the leader and based on the cards in the anniversary box and based on the few cards that I remember, the cards for the deck are not like inefficient in any way. But it's just a case of it being a yellow deck with a big engine, so you can't run a lot of the good yellow stuff. And is that engine in its own going to be good enough to carry the deck when it can't run good yellow stuff? Is, I think, the idea. Set 18, Shroomshauser. Now, this is my boy. This is my boy right here. I'm super biased and I want to put it in tier 2, but I won't. Because I think it slots nicely into Rogue for now. I really want to put it in has potential and competitive. I don't know. I honestly, there's so many ways to build the deck now. I just can't put it up there because I don't know how many different builds I'm going to have by the end of the year. We'll put it in Rogue for now, but I'm definitely going to be messing with this deck. Demigra definitely got a really nice boost. Man, actually, I'm putting these decks above Angel Halo. Let me reconsider some of these. Gotenks. I'm moving Gotenks down, I don't care. That's not going above Angel Halo. Helku can stay in. Is there any deck Rogue if every deck is Rogue? Yeah, I'm noticing I do need to be more harsh with this shit now. Quad I don't see as Rogue, to be honest. Yeah, okay, we'll move Quadku down. Maybe I'm trolling. Helku, I think, is Rogue. Is it above Angel Halo? That's what I need to get into my head. We're gonna revamp this, I think. I think Helku is coming down. I think we're moving it down. I don't like the deck other than the Dragon Fist. The Dragon Fist is really good as a card. The deck outside of Dragon Fist sucks. Demigra. I think is gonna be casual tier. It has the potential to move up just with the fact that you can play like anything. Helku can be rogue just because of his color and say and put him back. Nah, we're being harsh now. It's really hard to gauge like the difference between these tiers, to be honest, because it is very much like decks that could maybe sneak into a top 16 and decks that won't, I guess. I think Demigra is casual. It has potential to be good with the new 7-drop just being like very flexible, but we'll keep it in. Meki. Meki is up here somewhere. Not up here though, but it's up here. I'm going to put Meki in 1.5. I think Meki is extremely strong. I'm even going as far as to put an Anniversary Box supported leader above this tier. Well, other than Cooler Mill, I guess. Pan Pan was already a very strong deck, so there we are. SS4 Bardock is also up here. I think I'll put SS4 Bardock in one of these two. I think I'll put it in Pilot Skill. This deck seems to have really, really weird sequencing from the small testing that I've done, and I cannot figure it out, but it seems to just work as well. But I feel like once I get the sequencing down, it gets a bit ridiculous. Okay, now we're on to... That's the Anniversary Box leaders. Am I happy with these? I think so. I hate that... I still hate that Angel Halo is down here, but I have to be real with myself. It's not up here. It's just not. So these are the 5 decks, or 6 decks, I guess, because Beerus and Champa are one deck that got supported by the Z extra cards. And starting off with U7, I'll happily put U7 in Rogue, I think. This deck definitely got some nice support with that Z extra card. It does a lot for the deck. It's pretty matchup dependent. Some decks could just deal with the board state. 19k bodies are pretty cool until a Z leader. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. The thing right now is that, like, oh my god, it's suddenly dark in here. Let me turn on the light. Yeah, 20k is the new premium. 15k is no longer really relevant because Z leaders exist, and every deck has a pretty much a way to bean itself, whether it's either a Z leader or an actual bean effect. And the deck that has both, like Meki, is where it gets a bit disgusting, I think. But yeah, I think U7 Goku is I could see maybe getting a top cut in one event kind of thing. Red Ribbon Robot is actual trash. This deck is so insanely bad, and then they errated Bean and it got insanely worse. Champa Beerus, I don't even know what the Z extra card does, but I'm still putting them in actual trash. Oh, it lets them awaken early. Yeah, it's still actual trash. Super 17 can be locals. I think just because of the fact that it's a yellow deck, like, yellow decks just fit into this deck, even if they would normally be actual trash. Yellow's generic cards are just so broken that it pushes them to locals tier. SS4 Goku, this deck has really strong potential, I think. Is it tier 2 or tier 3? I think I'll put it in tier 3 for now. But this deck... The Z extra card for this deck is actually insane, because it gives the deck removal every time you use leader skill for free. It lets you take 2 life, so you can self-awaken super quickly. You can awaken turn 2 pretty much every game now. You can recycle your Goku Xenos with it later on in the game. When you start, if you maybe mill your Beyond All Limits, you can just grab one back, and then you're kind of set up for the rest of the game in terms of whatever you needed to grab back that you might have milled. You can just grab it back. And then on top of that, you can give a Goku Xeno card 5k and crit, which includes your leader, so you can basically pump your leader to 30k double strike crit for 0 energy. Or you can also give your Goku Xeno 30k overarm plus 5k in crit to make it a 35k crit, which is, again, insane, especially for early game. Suddenly, the Goku Vegeta Black Spice combo becomes a 35k crit and a 30k crit for 1 energy, which is dumb. It also bursts 2 when it comes into play. No, it bursts 2 on the 5k in crit effect, which is great, just to help you with overarm numbers if you need it. And the 5k is for the turn, so defensively, you also have a Bean as a black deck that doesn't have a Z leader. So, like, suddenly your opponent has to actually commit a lot more resources into trying to kill you, which is where this deck kind of lacked, was obviously some of the defense wasn't great. Obviously, it has, like, Petrification, it has support, it has kind of Gate, but Petrification is arguably just better nowadays. Which are great, but they either cost you energy or life, whereas this is just a free Bean on your leader. And if your opponent is going wide, which is, I feel like what the deck kind of loses to, is if you go against a deck where they can outlive your kill turn and then just go wide and kill you that way, the Bean is just going to be crazy. So yeah, this deck got a lot from that 1Z extra card. It is really insane what they did to it. U3 is actual trash. These are now the decks that got support from the regional pricing. Baby got a really nice support card with the 8-drop. Removal through barrier and just removal in general. I think it's still Rogue, but it's definitely on the higher end of the Rogue tier. Like, if I were to actually order the Rogue tier, it would be something like this, I'd argue. Yeah, I feel like this, if I were to order the Rogue tier, Baby would be at the top of it, and Gohan would be at the bottom. It's clearly 1.5. I mean, it really could be tier 2, is what I'm saying when I put it at the top of Rogue tier. It really could be. I don't know. I think it's Rogue for now, because in my eyes, it's still a deck that you'd see maybe one sneak into top 16 every so often. Find me an answer to Nimbus? Yeah, that's the issue. Just run Golden Frieza Unison, Triple Strike Dual Attack, easy. King Piccolo, I really don't know what this deck does. I think it is. It has just like good cards all around though, right? It's either one of these two, to be honest. So I will stick it in low Rogue for now. Majin Buu, I also don't know what this deck does. I'm putting Majin Buu in locals tier, I think, along with the other yellow decks. I'd be surprised if I saw this deck in a top cut, even though I don't know what it does. I know that it's to do with a big chain, and I feel like big chains right now are not great because you can just, like, there's so much barrier removal. If the chain gets barrier at any point, it doesn't matter. You just remove the chain, surely. Cumber. This is going up here. See, I don't think Cumber takes all that much to play well. I'm not sure. Well, it's up here for somewhere, for sure. But I'm like, the issue is with Cumber is if Cooler Mill is in the meta, Cumber is not in the meta, because Cumber can't compete against Cooler Mill with, like, unless you heavily tech for it. For that reason, I'm gonna put it in tier 2, just because we don't know the status of Cooler Mill at the moment and how Cooler Mill does into things like Green Gohan, etc. Pilot, I guess. I mean, I'm tempted to put it in Pilot skill. It could be. But I just, yeah. I think it really does depend on Cooler Mill, and I think that's kind of the definition of has potential, because it has the potential to be up there, but Cooler Mill is going to be what keeps it down. Golden Frieza. This could be in either of these. This could be in tier 0. It should be banned, to be honest. See, I know wherever I put this, Peter is going to be unhappy with, because I'm leaning towards one of the 2 top tiers, but I know Peter would say it's in tier 1.5 for sure. I think personally I'm putting it in tier 1. Maybe tier 0. I think just because of the Golden Cooler SCR and Bloodlust, it could very easily be tier 0. And the fact that it's so generic. I think, in fact, no, I will put it tier 0 because there's too many different builds of it now. And it's so impossible. Like, you obviously expect it to be the standard build, but with all of these other builds popping up, it just shows how, like, insanely flexible and restricting the leader is in terms of flexible in terms that you can build anything in it, and then restricting in the fact that you like there's very few other leaders you'd ever want to play over this unless you're looking for a completely different playstyle. Launch. I mean, Launch is a fine deck, but I don't think it does anything. I'd put it in locals here, I think. Set 12 Shroom Salsa is for sure Pilot skill, I think. This deck just has a lot of things that it can do and a lot of different ways to build it. If Golden Frieza can top 4 with Goku's lineage, yeah, that's part of what drove me to put it in tier 0. Is like, you can play it Goku's lineage, you can play it standard with like Gohan unisons, you can play it with green stuff. It just shows how, in a nutshell, that leader is completely broken. SS2 Gohan, this is a rogue deck. This deck is just one of those decks where if you saw SCR every game, it would be a bonkers deck. Because this deck, when it draws Beast Gohan, is insane. This deck without Beast Gohan is still a fine deck. It really does know how to put on pressure, but it can struggle to finish. You can unironically play Black Golden Frieza. Wait, what? Send me the list. What's the Black Golden Frieza? Huh? Is there a Black Frieza's Army cards? I swear there's not. Is it Frieza's Army or Frieza's Clan? I think it's Frieza's Army. There's not Black Frieza's Army cards, right? No? You're gonna have to spread the source. I am very curious. Goku Jr. and Vegeta Science. Oh, you mean like full skill? Right. I've played a very similar build of that, but with like Chilled, where you just play a bunch of skillless tokens. So I guess that's Frieza's brother. Maybe Chilled should be up here in tier 0 as well. But yeah. That does sound good fun. That does sound very fun. Just a hell of a lot of black stuff in Golden Frieza with a bunch of skillless Frieza's armies. Supreme Kai is a rogue deck. It's along the same vein as SS4 Goku. I don't know which one's better, but with the new support, SS4 Goku is maybe better. I just like that Supreme Kai can have its board stick around, which is the main. Like, I love the fact that it can stick its board around. Flip Han is actual trash. It's one of the few yellow decks that doesn't make it to casual locals tier just off the back of yellow staples, because the deck doesn't have really much draw power. Sad face. I mean, it did get new support. I don't remember what the new support does. It's good from what I remember, but I think I'm still putting it in actual trash, I'm afraid. Whis can go in the same vein. Trunks Cheetah. I mean, I'd put it in casual locals, but again, it has that horrible set of yellow staples to fall back on that could just boost it to rogue. But I'm putting it in casual locals. Trunks is up here. I'll put Trunks in high competitive. I think Trunks is not meta defining, but it's a meta deck, you know? And that's kind of what tier 1.5 is. It's a deck that doesn't warp the meta in any sort of way. It's not a deck. It's a deck that you should prepare for, but it's not a deck that you should build your deck around, almost. Green Cooler. Shout out to Beal Revels on Team TN Beal. definitely going in Rogue tier. It's very, very strong as a deck still, but it needs a good pilot to do well with it, and I think doing well with it is still only just sneaking into top 16s every so often. I don't think that even a good pilot can push it to top 4 or first place. I mean, maybe top 4, but yeah, we'll keep. I think Rogue is fitting. Token Toa, that's a local stack. That's for sure a local. PyCon is actual trash. Turtle School. I think Turtle School is Rogue. The new cards do nice things for it, but it doesn't do a whole lot for it. It lets you self-awaken earlier and on higher life, but it doesn't really make it all that much easier to actually self-awaken, you know? You still need a whole load of Z energy for it, which is the main issue with the whole self-awakening thing anyways. Bardock, I think, fits into Rogue nicely. I think this deck is good. 3Han. Again, if this deck sees Beast Gohan, it pops off. But I don't think it's as good as SS2 Gohan, so I'm going to put it in locals tier. SS2 Vegito. This is a deck, this Vegito deck. Set 2 Vegito. Again, it's one of those decks where if you see SCR turn 3, you win. But if you don't, it's so much worse, which is the same reason we've got Gohan here. So I think I'll put Vegito in high tier 3. It's definitely not high competitive. It's like just underneath high competitive, which is what we'll stick in the Rogue tier for. I think it's beginning to fall off. I think it, yeah. It's still a good deck. It's still a very good deck. But the fact you kind of need to see SCR super early to like really stabilize and start popping is what keeps it down. So I'm happily putting it in Rogue. Warriors of Universe 7. Which one is it? It's for sure one of these two. But again, the line is thin between these two. I think just to keep Peter humble, we'll put it in actual trash. Android 21. Android 21. Okay, this is a deck that needs to be discussed because this is I absolutely hate this deck, and there's a few reasons. The first reason is that it's not a good deck, and I will die on that hill. It is not a good deck. But the issue with the deck and ranking it on this tier list is that people play it a lot, and by that standard, Android 21s are eventually going to get top cards because people play it a lot. And then on another vein is the deck is completely meta warping because people play it a lot, because you can't play a blue deck that doesn't have an answer to it in this meta. And that's the main issue with it. Problem is, you can't put it low because it tops, but there's no skill behind the deck at all. It's entirely around how your opponent plays. If your opponent is bad, then it will win. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's a bad deck, but it's a punishing deck, and people play it a lot. It is, it's very much the Gamma effect. It is very much the Gamma effect. And it's also horribly meta warping. And in my eyes, meta warping decks go in tier 1. Meta defining. You have to build your deck thinking about this deck, and this deck affects the deck building process as well as the preparation process. So Android 21 would slot into this tier list, or into this tier, but it's definitely not a tier 1 deck. It's at best Rogue in my eyes. And I hate the deck for that, because it is like super conflicting just because of popularity bias and because of the fact that it stomps blue decks but doesn't win against other decks. Pilot skill for sure? Nah. I'm sorry. I mean, pilot skill in terms of the opponent is where it would be at perfectly. I'm making a new tier for that. I don't care. Oh, what did I just do? What the hell? Okay, okay. Add a row below. Fucking hell, why does it keep... Okay, well, this is just painful. Yeah, there we go. Opponent skill. And we'll make it tier 1.7. And Android 21 will probably be the only deck in there. What's going to happen is you're going to put it in tier 1 and all the ex-Gamma boys will be like, look boys, Ollie said our queen is tier 1, but they won't listen to your reason. Perfect. Yeah. I think opponent skill is perfect for this. Because it can be tier 1, but it can also be tier 3, depending on how you judge it. SS4 Goku, this deck is bad. Is it actual trash? I'll put it in locals tier. I think locals tier is fair, just because it has good green. No, I'm putting it in actual trash. I'm sorry. Never mind. Never mind, I'm putting it in actual trash. Spirit Bomb, this deck's really good. This deck is really good. I'm gonna put it in tier 1. Is it tier 1 or tier 1.5? It's one of these two for sure. We'll go out on a limb and put it tier 1. Oob. This is going in casuals. I don't care that Oob Mill exists. It's not rogue. I do not care. Gohan is for sure meta defining up there. 1.5, don't overextend. What, for Spirit Bomb you mean? I don't know. I think it can be either one. I don't think people play it a lot, so maybe it is just 1.5 for that reason. I think it's a really good deck. Yeah, we'll put it 1.5 for that reason, that people don't play it a lot. Green Gohan is for sure up tier 1 meta defining. Cell casual. Frieza Swap is up here somewhere. It's one of those. It could be in pilot skill, but it could also be in rogue. I think it could also be an opponent skill level, to be honest, because this deck catches people out who don't know what it does. But if they do know what it does, it is a lot worse. I think I'm going to put it in rogue. Top end of rogue somewhere. We'll put it here. Because having played the deck, it's good. But it's not the kind of thing, if I wanted to win, I would play it. It's the kind of thing that I have fun playing, but no. If people know what it does, then it's a lot easier to play around, in my eyes. And it's also so incredibly taxing to play. You cannot play this deck if you don't know what you're doing, or if you are like on no sleep or no food, no hunger. Yeah, you have to be playing this deck over a long tournament is going to be impossible. It's why I've only ever played it in tournaments that have been like 5 rounds long. No hunger. We are here playing Minecraft, boys. Got that no hunger buff. Let's go. This Gohan deck, I think this is locals tier. I don't really know what it does, but I remember reading the cards and just not being impressed. Hido, locals tier. Again, if you don't know what this deck does, maybe it wins a couple of rounds in a regionals, but it's never gonna... Actually, I actually can't say that, can I? Because it won a regionals, didn't it? Fucking hell. What a world we live in. No, this deck shouldn't win a regionals, or... Yeah. Okay, we're putting it in casual locals. Gogeta, okay, this is up here somewhere. I think I'll put it in meta defining. Solely for the reason that it's one of the decks you have to consider when building your deck. And by that I mean you have to consider the SCR when building your deck. And the worst part is people might not even be playing that SCR. People might play Beast Gohan, people might play Golden Cooler. Is there a blue-yellow SCR? Oh, Vegito. No, you wouldn't play Vegito, I don't think. But yeah, people might play Golden Cooler or Beast Gohan or... yeah. There's other SCRs you can play, which is the annoying thing about this deck, is it kind of has the surprise factor with the SCR like any green deck does. But you still have to consider the Gogeta SCR when you're building your deck. Does my deck have an out to this card? Nope. Okay, I probably need to just main deck 1 or 2 outs, like Final Flash. And the nice thing is most of the outs for the SCR can also hit the A drop because they'll just like blanket skills and then they don't have Aegis for the turn. You can actually swing through them for a turn. So it's still worth including cards like Final Flash, like Hunt of the Demon God. And then like Ultimate Duo is, you know, a card that yellow decks run anyways. So yeah, I think tier 1 is perfect for this. Janemba, locals. Go Bros, this is a good deck. I'm gonna put it in high competitive. I think this is a good evaluation. Gogeta is fine where it is. It's a blue deck that does Aegis very well. Yeah, exactly. 1.5. I think Go Bros definitely goes 1.5. That's what you're on about. It's a very strong deck. Is it better than Gohan? I don't know. I'm not sure. It definitely has kind of more space to... Well, actually, no, to be fair, they both have really a lot of space to be quite flexible with what they're running. Because both their engines are relatively small. So, they're both quite similar decks, to be fair. Broly, I think, is locals tier. I haven't seen the deck do much. It's a cool deck. It does some cool stuff. Amazing draw, easy to pay, stop burn. Yeah. I think I think with Broly, it's locals. That's fair. This yellow deck can go in Rogue. This deck has the potential to do things, I think. And again, it's a yellow deck, so it gets an extra tier up from what it would normally be if it wasn't a yellow deck, unfortunately. Just because yellow is a broken color. But yeah. Baba, unfortunately, I don't think generic yellow stuff saves it. On the contrary. Fu... I'll put Fu in Rogue. I think the deck's good, but I don't think it ever breaks the competitive scale, almost. It's kind of like anti-meta. Yeah, true. Yeah. What did this Goku guy get? This GT... This got was it a TP promo? I feel like I remember it getting a promo. I feel like it's actual trash. If I don't remember the card, I think it's actual trash. Fu in pilot skill. I mean, it definitely takes some skill to pilot it, but I don't think it cracks that. I think it is still just rogue, to be honest. Like, I don't think it's a better deck than Frieza Swap. I don't think it's a better deck. I mean, maybe it's a better deck than Vegeta, but I definitely don't think it's a better deck than Frieza Swap. I don't think it can really overtake, like, Cumber and Sin in terms of, like, good matchup spread and everything. But it's definitely a good deck, don't get me wrong. Hatch. This deck is just always kind of lurking, isn't it? I'll put it in Rogue, because it's always there. It's like the little fucking monster under the bed. It's always there. You just have to not look and hope you don't pair against it, because, yeah. Invoker. We're putting this in locals tier. Unfortunately. I'm sorry, Peter. If Peter's on, it's like Damien said. If Peter's on the deck, it gets up here. Without Peter on the deck, it's for sure locals tier. I don't know how that man plays this deck. It's ridiculous. Ultimate Cell. I'm gonna put this deck in locals as well, I think. It's definitely good, but I don't think it's good enough to break Rogue. Goku Black, locals tier. Janemba. I'm gonna put this in has potential. This is another deck Why is that shit even on the list? What are you on about? Oh, Invoker? Oh, that's just because I copied it straight from Damien's spreadsheet tier list. He sent me the whole thing. Presumably he put it on there to discuss with Peter about the state of Invoker. Yeah, of course I knew it was Invoker. As soon as you say something negative about a deck that is like unfiltered, it's Android 21 or Invoker. There's 2 options. It does not matter. Or it's a deck that got banned because it's... Actually, it could be U7. It could be U7, but I think generally you're more restrained when it comes to U7 because you understand that's just personal bias. This man really put Trunks Cheetah in casual? Yeah, I don't think Trunks Cheetah cracks it anymore. It for sure could be Rogue, but I don't think it is Rogue. I think it's on the level of Token Tower down here. Let's go. Soul Striker. This is a deck. Yeah, oh yeah, Janemba is what I was discussing. Janemba is one of those decks where depending on the meta, it can just, boom, get up there, you know? It will, and especially in an early meta, like once the new set comes out, Janemba will probably sneak in a few tops just because people don't know what they're doing with the new decks and stuff. Soul Striker. I'm gonna put this in has potential as well. Soul Striker, it's just one of those decks where you can build it any which way you want, a bit like Golden Frieza, and you can probably do quite well with it. And there's probably a build out there that just kind of snaps the deck. So I'll put it in has potential. Magenta, this is locals tier. Cellmax. Cellmax is rogue tier. Cellmax is a good rogue deck. Baby is a locals tier deck. Bardock is... I'll put Bardock in absolute trash. I don't even care. Trunks, I think, is the same kind of position as Soul Striker. It's basically the same deck at the end of the day, to be honest. Gotenks can go in... Is it even Rogue anymore? I mean, green has a lot of good stuff, and it's a green Saiyan leader, so yeah, we'll put it in Rogue. Monkey deck. I'm putting this in locals tier. It definitely has the potential to do something, this format, with the fact that it's got some new support in line with the new Goku skillless deck. But yeah, I don't think it really makes it to Rogue. Majin. Is this along with Spirit Bomb high competitive? Yeah, I'd say so. I think it's still up there. Vegito is a local stack. I really wanted this deck to be something, but it isn't. And Expert 21 is for sure pilot skill. This deck, and to be honest, this could go in opponent skill as well. Both the Android 21s are a bit based on opponents. I think this is pilot skill though. This will really depend on who's playing the deck, I think. The deck feels very, very hard to play, and the build is impossible to figure out. But yeah, this is the tier list. I'm quite happy with this. I think these are definitely the decks to be watching out for right now. The trifecta of Golden Frieza, Gohan, and Gogeta. And then these are definitely like strong picks still, all of the tier 2 and above. And then Rogue is just like still good picks. Might get to the top 16, but I don't think you'd ever crack first with them necessarily. Or you'd have to get quite lucky with matchups if you were to. But yeah, I'm happy with this list. There we go. You can give me your opinions, give me the breakdown.
Right, so if I look at it from here, okay. What chat? What are we saying about this list then? Is this F tier, complete garbage, the whole list, or is this sick? Is this exactly it? So, Golden Frieza at the top. OP should be banned. Do you want it banned? Do you want Golden Frieza banned?
I do want it banned, yeah.
Why do you want it banned? Talk to me.
Hey, what's up, Entail? Thank you very much for the sub.
Entail, thank you very much, bro.
Yeah.
I'm back in here. I'm here as well.
Hell yeah. It's the fact that it's too flexible of a leader, I think. It feels like it'll always be just one of the best yellow decks unless it gets dealt with.
Best green deck, mate.
And yeah, best green deck, best Goku's Lineage swap deck, like...
Right, what are we saying about Heroes Lineage Swap? Is that actually a thing, or is it just some pure, like...
I don't think
like,
it is a thing.
French cope?
I don't think it is a thing. But it did well, that's the thing. I don't think it ever wins. I don't think it ever wins best of 3 games unless it comes down to time rules. But best of 1 games, because it's Golden Frieza, you have to prepare for the normal Golden Frieza build, and it will just kill you.
Mate, I look at that list and I'm like, why is like 90% of the list from set 4? I don't understand. It's set 4 or below with some Frieza army stuff, and then 1 TP that you've got to try and draw to make the whole thing work.
You're not on the Golden Frieza should be banned train then.
No, it's a set 1 leader, man. It's a set 1 leader. I remember playing this in set 2.
Hey, what's up?
How we
What's up,
talking
Leading
about
Quick
getting it
Krober?
banned?
Thank you very much for the sub as well. Appreciate it.
I can see it. I can see it happening, but yeah, it just feels like it goes against every fiber of my being to feel like one leader needs to get banned. But I get it. I get it. Yellow in general as a color just has a couple too many like tricks. It's got too much like floodgate pressure. It's got too many negates, and Golden Frieza kind of circumvents what the entire color is supposed to do.
Yeah.
But yellow is balanced around the fact that you gotta leave up some defense, some energy defensively, or you use your energy offensively. And Golden Frieza kind of just takes that idea and just like sends it out the window and goes, "Nah, scrap that. Just do what you want, mate."
Yeah, exactly.
Just get aggressive, put a golden cooler on the board, slap them about a bit, and then untap 2, and then like send them on the snapback as well. Like,
yeah,
I get it.
That's the other flip side is it's also a deck that has access to Bloodlust, which is broken.
Yeah.
That card just needs to go anyways. But also it's the fact that like turn 6 it can just Golden Cooler. Well, I can play a 1-drop Golden Cooler and then oh no, sorry, it can Golden Cooler and then pop something on board to just untap 2 and then have Cooler counter live. So if you're like relying on Petrification or something similar, Golden Cooler is just killing you no matter what.
Yeah, and then you like watch those like degenerate mirror matches with it where they both just sit there and like don't kill each other.
Yeah.
Like they all just wait for that exact play to win the game against each other, and it's like...
Yeah, I can imagine, because I've not watched mirror matches of this deck, I couldn't be bothered with that. But I can imagine it's very Crimson-esque of just like, oh, I can't play my Golden Cooler because you'll Bloodlust it. Oh, okay, I can't play my Golden Cooler because you'll Bloodlust it. Let's just both kind of play until one of us Bloodlusts and then the other one loses. Or we just like try and go Unison Blitz.
They just sit there until like turn 8 unawakened, just draw passing.
Yeah.
It's cringe, it's horrible. Like, maybe the more I'm talking, maybe it needs to be banned. I'm getting,
yeah, you're convincing yourself slowly but surely.
I'm getting angry about it. Again, I say it goes against every fibre of my being, but there's a chance I agree. There's a slim chance I agree with you.
It's like going down on the list. This is why I hate yellow in general, right?
Yeah.
Going down on the list, there were so many yellow decks, I just had to bump up a tier because they had access to yellow staples.
Talk to me about them. Which ones? Which one we're talking about here?
The Super 17 deck.
What?
I feel like this
yellow
deck...
Super 17?
Yeah, this deck would be an absolute trash without yellow staples. Same with Helku. Helku could even be on rogue tier, but if it had no yellow staples, it's absolute trash instantly.
So like...
I just hate it.
And this is the thing,
this
right?
Ape deck, like even skillless,
skillless monkey.
I really hate yellow as a color. I really just hate it.
So everybody like builds yellow, like they'll build these leaders, and they'll be like, "Bro, check out my like spicy Goku Korin list. It's so broken." And I look down your list, and you're like, Yeah, so I've got 4 Riposte, 3 Sin, play a bunch of like Black Kamehamehas and Nimbuses, and then there's like 4 skillless guys, and then one other guy in there, and I'm like, this isn't a Goku Korin list, is it? This is just yellow cards.
Yeah, and the thing with yellow decks is like people will go like, oh, this yellow deck has too big of an engine, so it's bad. Or this yellow deck has such a small engine, it's the best yellow deck. Like that's what people said about Trunks Cheetah for the longest time. They were like, it's got such a small engine, it's amazing. You just have to play 1-drops and then play 3-drops that evolve on top of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? You're just playing the engine to draw cards or like to have a bit of removal, and then you're playing yellow staples 36 cards.
Yeah, it is. It's like, do I sound harsh here? But it is kind of just a bit brain dead, isn't it? Like, especially if you enjoy deck building and you enjoy making a deck work, you know, you could sit there for hours and build one of these decks, like thinking, oh, all these exciting techs. You will turn back up on 36 good yellow cards and a couple of core, like what the deck does inherently, and then that's just your list.
Yeah, exactly. That is something I have to respect about Golden Freezer, is that it's a bit different to some of the other yellow decks, but not by enough. Like it's got cool stuff with the Higher Dragon Unison, and then using that into the Gohan Unison. It's all very interesting, but we've seen it enough. Like it just
we're done now.
Yeah,
we're done now. Like yellow kind of needs its like identity back in a way, in terms of getting some of these decks their own kind of core reason for doing what they want to do, and actually making people play into what some of these archetypes want, rather than as just sitting there being like jamming the same 36 cards. When we're done, Golden Freezer especially, because it just allows that entire core of like just yellow good stuff to operate too well in it.
Yeah.
And you only need like 8 cards to make it all work. So
yeah, plus it'll trigger Peter seeing Golden Freezer up here.
Oh no, not the Golden Emperor himself. I'm Beetle Rebel, by the way. Right. So Pete thought that my name, even though it's J Revel everywhere, was actually Beal, and we're trying to work out whether he meant Joe Beal, Revel Beal, a Beal Revel. Pete, please tell us, man. We're
We need to know.
Here, bro.
We need to know.
We have to know. Right, moving down this list. Meta defining Gohan Gogeta. Yeah, sure. I think Gogeta's kind of doody, but you have to kind of respect it. Like,
yeah.
I think it's very Android 21-esque, where you know how to play against it. It's gonna sandbag you to a point. But if you haven't got things prepared to stop what it's going to do, then it's going to get you.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those decks, and that's kind of what I was thinking when putting together that tier 1 category, is these are the decks that you need to think about when you're building your deck, rather than just like testing against them.
Yeah, exactly.
These two decks change the way that you build decks, or even decide on a deck in general, because you have to answer the Gogeta SCR, you have to have an answer to the 8-drop Gohan.
Yeah, exactly. Like Gohan's the same thing, where it's like what it does is extremely good, and one of the things that I would even
Wigglewaf, thank you very much for the tier 1 sub as well. Appreciate it.
An OP tier is not necessarily what the deck does, but again, it's got to play so fewer of these archetype cards. It's got so much room to just do whatever the hell it wants afterwards. Like you're playing like maybe like 16 to 18 cards in the core, and then your like main deck can, you know, you can main deck Koizaka, you can main deck Hand Control Vegeta, you can main deck whatever Unison you want. You see King Vegeta, you see Bardock Unison, you see Demagogue Unison. The deck's got so much flexibility that one of the things you've got to think about when you're playing into it is what SCR are they playing, what build are they playing, are they unisonless, are they some unisons, are they not, you know, there's so many factors that, very similar to how we described Frieza there. Preparing for a Gohan matchup includes, you know, you play around 2-3 SCRs and they pan you for some reason and you've still lost.
Yep. Yeah, that is another issue with just green Saiyan leaders in general at the moment, is there's too many SCRs for you to have to play around.
Yeah, exactly. Very competitive. Margin Vegeta, Spirit Bomb Sure. Yeah, that's exactly the same deck.
Yep.
I don't know what you're saying.
Yep.
Well done, you're playing a yellow Saintly. We're all talking about yellow, not first. Pan. Pan is the first anniversary box deck. Are we saying the anniversary support is good enough to make this highly competitive?
I think so, honestly. The fact that you can get draw power and minus 20k potentially every turn. Obviously, you know, it's an unprotected battle card, so it's not going to be every turn. But it just adds that extra draw power, and I feel like the deck honestly lacked some removal.
Yeah. No, I can. I'll bow to your. I'll bow to your knowledge on that one. Like
I'm not a red player. Don't bow to my knowledge. I don't know what the deck does at all.
I'm just doing it anyway, man. Look at us both, very uneducated, non-red players. I'm the closest red player here. Red sim for life,
Yeah,
etc.
of course.
So yeah, Pan's broken, guys. You heard it here first. Like, what more do you want? In the chat there, what about Black Vegito? Have you got Black Vegito?
Black Vegito, true, good point. Black Vegito is
my
in
God.
casual locals, I'm sorry.
Dr. Q, we forgot about Black Vegito. I'm so sorry. Look,
It's
all the way
down there, it's
there.
down there.
Yeah, it didn't quite make the actual upper frame of the tier list.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry, that's
like
not what you want to hear.
so energy hungry for a black deck. That's, yeah, it just doesn't do enough. It doesn't draw a huge amount, and it doesn't play enough to be good in my eyes.
And look, that's a really compelling point on and everything, but Dr. Q says he's tier 0, so I don't know what
Okay,
else
yeah,
you-
I'll move him up.
I don't
I'll
want-
move him up.
Move him up, man. Like, mate, it's tier 0. I don't want to hear
Done
anything more.
set 12 slug yet. Oh my god.
Shout out to Axel. Why are we talking about set 12 slug? It's not in here, mate. It's not in
It's
here.
not, unfortunately. It is in my heart. I have just got the last max rarity pieces that I need for that deck.
Is there a dead tier on here?
Is there a
Is there an
dead
actual
tier?
tier on
Yeah.
this list? Get it in there. I'm done. Meki Kabora, right? I'm really. I think this deck's broken. I mean, it's
I
absolutely
agree.
snapped
I
in
think
half.
it's really good. Yeah.
Cool. We settled that one.
Yep.
Easy. Trunks obviously is broken. Go Bros obviously broken. It is what it is. I think a lot of these make sense really.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Cooler? We've probably already talked about Cooler already, but that's kind of snapped now with new sport, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it will be really strong. Like, I put it in pilot skill because it'll be dependent on pilot skill. It'll also be somewhat dependent on meta, I think. But I think the deck just has like so many options now. It is really nice.
How many guys are you gonna play at locals on turn 1? They're gonna energy exhaust one. You're gonna
Yep.
swing with your leader, and these boys are gonna just flop 5 cards straight away from their hand and be like, "Yo, mill like 3 cards. How many cards left in hand? 2. Sick. Your turn." Very pilot dependent. I think I agree with that. I think
Yeah.
Bardoc's looking pretty good. Axel's pretty hyped about Bardock at the moment. It's being able
Yeah,
to use
I see a
SCR
couple
twice.
of people in chat talking about Bardock. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be building it this stream, but maybe at a later date, because the vote determined the yellow sin. But yeah, it is snapped. It's. I tried playing it the other night because I got the anniversary box bits yesterday.
Yeah.
That deck is so impossible to sequence all of a sudden. It's crazy. Like, it went from just counting to 4 colors in your energy to so much more than that.
Broken deck.
Yeah.
Broken deck. Black really got like the best stuff from this anniversary box.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I missed this part of the stream, but explain to me what opponent's skill tier is for anyone.
So,
This stinks of Tom. This stinks of Tom already.
well, there is a little bit of Tom inside me. Anyways.
Excuse me.
Huh?
Excuse me. Tell me more.
So, yeah, Android 21. I was looking at it and I was like, so it could be put in meta defining because you have to think about it when you're building your deck. You have to not play blue because of it, unless you have a way to deal with it. And you kind of have to have a card like Petrification, ideally, to deal with the A-drop if things go south.
Yeah.
However, in my eyes, the deck's trash. I don't think the deck's good. And I think that it's mostly just popularity bias that is causing it to pop up in so many top cuts because lots of people play it. And I think, in my eyes, the deck is tier 3 Rogue. But I think because you also have to build your deck thinking about it because of the just, like, toxicity of the deck. The fact that it wins against every blue deck and then loses to everything else. Means that you could argue it's in tier 1. So I put it in tier 1.7 because it's dependent on opponent's skill. If your opponent's good, they should never lose to this deck. If your opponent's bad, they lose to it.
Yeah, I'm like slightly thinking it's also a bit of pilot skill as well, and this is complete bias because my teammate Rob has literally been playing this deck since release, and it's infuriating. It's so broken when this man plays it, but like whenever you look at any of like the American streams and stuff like that, like you'll see it played and you're just like they're just going through the motions, and you're watching some guy just like play 5 battle cards and then start swinging with the first one, and you're like, no, bro, like what? I can't deal with this. And they're like, oh, this deck's so broken, I can't believe I've been had again. It's like, please sequence your attacks. I'm begging you.
Yeah.
Right. How low is your self-esteem that you've put favorite deck Cumber all the way down here in tier 2 competitive has potential? You've made Cumber the sidekick of your own fantasy.
So the reason I put it here, I was really debating where to put it. Because making this without bias for some of the decks was kind of hard. I put it in...
Tier list. It's your tier list.
Yes, but I like to be objective. I like to think about... Because it's a card game. It's all about numbers at the end of the day.
We ain't here for flipping objectivity.
If I had my way, Angel Halo is tier 0, should be banned. But
off it goes. It's your tier list. Own it, bro. It's going to the top. Get it in there.
But yeah, Cumber I put here because I was going to basically put it in tier 1.5, but I think it all depends on what Cooler does in the meta. If Cooler Mill ends up becoming like an overbearingly strong deck, Cumber can't play the game, unfortunately.
Just because the Fu gets negged off the board, ignoring barrier, presumably.
Yeah, and the deck draws so much naturalies that like it's kind of hard to play.
We're going for the 60 card combo special.
I mean, honestly, if Cooler Mill and Janemba start popping up everywhere, 60 cards is going to be the way to go.
Yeah. And there's like enough in there, like especially if they mill you as well, you just like move into like some overrealm based thing, like the amount of overrealms you get access to then, like because you originally couldn't fill your drop up enough with the deck.
Yeah, true.
I'm saying, Cumber never dies. Get it up there. This is a pilot skill, highly competitive deck for sure. What in the chat here? Barrier SCR Z battle makes Cumber limit its draw. Yeah, limit its draw. Limit its draw. Rev makes me Cumber. That's fair enough. That's
Tends to happen.
Can't argue with it. Happens by accident all the time, you know. Yeah, so like the anything with the barrier SCRZ battle, they're difficult to deal with. I feel like a lot of the things that Cumber got recently make it so powerful anyway. Like you've got the barrier removal from the 7-drop Cumber. The Hatch promo is just a pure...
That Hatch promo is so insane, yeah.
In that deck, like the 6-drop Hatch promo for 2 energy is barrier. It's going to get rid of a Z battle card, which doesn't have barrier, but then you've got the Cumber to deal with any barrier Z battle cards and SCRs and stuff.
Oh, to be honest, another reason I put it in tier 2 was because of the existence of Bigamore.
Broken card. Best card in the game.
It really is.
You've triggered me. It is the best card in the game.
Like, I need to do more testing against Green Gohan to figure out how the matchup goes, basically Petrification versus Bigamore and who can draw more cards.
I think you stall out Gohan, though.
I think you can. I think you definitely can, but I genuinely haven't ever played the matchup, so I'm not sure.
Revs doesn't even like Bigamore. That's incorrect. That's invalid. Right, the rest of these blue card decks I don't care about. Blue's terrible colour.
True.
Rogue, Vegeto's in here. Blue Baby's in here. Talk to me about Blue Baby. The recent promo's nuts.
Rogue,
I don't feel like it's a Rogue deck.
Rogue, I decided was decks that you could see 1 or 2 come into a top 16 occasionally. And as you get lower down, it becomes very occasionally, but I could still like see it.
Yeah, okay. If that's it, then, Rogue tier 3, baby, top 16, Adam Porter, confirmed for the Euros
Nah, Tom
right
Smith,
now.
mate, Tom Smith.
Both of them, man. You
You
said one
guys
or
need to
two,
have a
didn't you?
baby
Like,
off. Oh my god, that would be great.
my, no, I would hate to watch it. It would be like watching a car crash, but I wouldn't be able to take my eyes away.
Imagine you go, you can you can start eating the opponent's baby stuff from drop, like all of the servant guys, and then just using them as your own like negates and stuff.
Oh, it would be so toxic. It
That'd be
would be
great fun.
utterly toxic. I think, right, we need to get Tom and Porter on the stream at some point. We need to get a baby versus baby going, and we'll commentate over it and just piss ourselves laughing all night.
Yes, yes,
Free content
absolutely.
idea. What have we got here again? Black Sin gonna be ranked? Have we put Black Sin in here somewhere? Have you got every leader on here?
No, 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 no. Just I legit copied it. Damien from the Lookout sent me the tier list, so I just had all the leaders he had on there. Black Sin was not on there, but I think Black Sin would be in casual tier.
Sorry, Synth Hunter, you heard it here first. You casual.
Maybe
Black Sin,
Rogue
that's
if
baby.
Mill starts doing well, but if you play Mill, like surely you just play one of the other two decks.
Yeah, cool is
Below
kind of calling your name at that point.
Yeah. Sin
Um,
Black Sin's main advantage is that it does well into other Mill decks. So
Mate, that's the special tech then. That's the special thought.
against Cooler Mill, it's pretty good. Against everything else, Cooler Mill is a better Mill deck though.
Kind of. Crushes Cooler Mill, yeah, look. He already knows. Synth Hunter, we'll see you at the top tables, bro. I'm ready for it. I'm hearing you. My man's down playing Yellow Bardock. Where did you put that, Ollie? Rogue again?
That's in Rogue, yeah.
I don't know, Entail. That means that's one or two tops, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna see you there. We're not down playing Yellow Bardock, are we? I think that's more than fair. Boo is there. Boo and Hatch are in Rogue tier as well. I'm just randomly looking at stuff now. I'll be real with you. Fu was the hyped black deck. We already seen tops for Fu, but
Yeah.
it's not as good as Cumber. I think we came to the conclusion on.
Yeah, I don't think it's as good as Cumber. I don't think it's as good as just the decks that are above it, obviously. I think that it's one of those decks, and this is kind of how I defined Rogue in my head, was either you need to see like an SCR to pop off, which was the case for Vegito and for the Blue Gohan, which is somewhere here. I'm just missing it, I'm pretty sure.
The skillless one.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
well,
there
that's
it is.
the
Yeah.
Beast Gohan or bust the deck.
Yeah, it's like
The Grand Special.
my definition for Rogue became either you want to see SCR relatively early, or the deck will do well if your opponent doesn't know what it does, but it's so much worse when your opponent realizes what it's doing. And I think that's the case for Fu, is that if you know what Fu does and you can start preparing for it and just like trying to clear their board every turn basically, then it becomes a lot worse as a deck.
It is one of those decks, right, where someone is going to do the silly into it. They're not going to realize what's going on.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, oh, he's no counters, no blocks. Here we go. Hand dump triple strike.
Yeah.
150k, bro. And they're just going to play the SCR from the Z deck that you should have checked and redirect the attack to it. And then you just look daft. Yeah. And then Hatch as well. With the promo and everything, does this become a genuinely toxic deck? Is this more stally than blue and yellow?
That's what I'm scared of, honestly. I don't want to put it higher, but it really could end up being higher.
Yeah, I feel like it's been secretly like creeping up and getting too much like generic support, to the point where it might actually have the tools to be able to stand up to a lot of these decks.
Yeah, like it has
And we're all
barrier
focused on
removal
battle
now
time.
as well.
I think Rogue's probably fair. I think I'd keep it there, but there's like every mind for that to head up.
Yeah.
We'll have to do
Another
retrospective
issue with
on-
Hatch, which I did have to take into consideration for Angel Halo and bump it down a tier, was time rules. and just like losing to time.
Nah, Hatchet, that's an advantage. Hatch wins on time every time, mate.
I mean, yeah,
Higher
to
life.
be fair, for Hatch,
Higher
it's
life.
not so bad.
That's the thing, like Angel could, yeah, fair enough. Like you have to take a bit of a beating, but Hatch will just sit there on 8 life the entire game, just chilling, just laughing at you.
Yeah.
Like they win game 1 in a best of 3 after 50 minutes on life. There's nothing you can do. And you put Cooler in Rogue tier. I appreciate that. I respect it.
Of course, of course.
Interesting to EU perspective of the DBS tier list after watching Dane Rich's tier list yesterday. Any differences that you guys are noticing? Just chuck it in there. And we'll. I mean, it'll be an interesting one to look at, but to see what the differences are really.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like this is pretty. This is all right so far. I was gonna roast you. I'm not gonna lie. I was coming to roast you.
Yeah, I was expecting some roasting.
I just can't argue with it. I just can't. I'm gonna find something to argue with you about though. What's Magenta doing in casual/local? That's ridiculous.
That deck, I've only ever seen Tom do anything with it, and it's winning locals.
What a broken deck. Only play villainous cards. Fu higher over Cumber. I'm intrigued.
Fu
by
higher over Cumber. Yeah, I don't. I feel like Cumber is so strong right now. Like the only thing that keeps Cumber down is Cooler Mill, and I feel like Fu will have the same issue into Cooler Mill.
Yeah, because you'll just get all of your like servant Cumbers negged off the board before you can do anything as well. You're not really like actively going to win the game quick enough, and also like your whole deck focuses around like just filtering everything out, which in most of the decks is really powerful, but like you will get milled out quicker playing Fu than you will playing Cumber as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything is a top 5 search into the Z deck, like every single thing. Tier 4. There is some shit in here, isn't there? I can't believe how many terrible leaders there are.
Yeah.
What is going on in here? Look at this shit leader. Is that Ultra Instinct Goku? that red blue Surge leader? That's terrible. That should be a tier lower. That's actual trash. That's what I disagree on. I'm just getting the fishing rods out there.
Yeah, of course. Peter's probably not even watching, but we just send him that clip and nothing else.
That's the clip at the beginning of the video, and we're just gonna reel him in. Put Golden Freezer and Invoker just in actual trash tier by themselves, and just clip it and send it to him.
No, I put it as the intro for the next time he does a deck profile with me.
He's got a top again to do that, man. Get launch out of tier 4, lol. Yeah,
nah.
For the sake of argument, I'm going to back Red Hurricane here and say, yeah, what are you doing? Get launch out of tier 4. That's top event. It's top event.
It has, but not much recently, right? Not since new set.
It was the France one, wasn't it? Like not this latest set, but I think it came second, didn't it?
I did it. Fair enough.
And also, it will use can it use the cooler support as well? Like the red blue degenerate nonsense where it just starts comboing everything on your turn?
I actually don't know. I hadn't looked at that. Let's have a see.
Pull it up.
If your leader is a red cooler card. Nope.
Yeah, this is the thing. That Whis from last set kind of helps
the Whis arrival does definitely help it.
Yeah. I think you can put it into Rogue.
I do think launch, maybe Trunks Jeter could go Rogue. I'll stick.
Yeah, because people want Trunks Jeter in tier 2 here.
Really? No.
What's tier 2?
Competitive has potential. It's not going in tier 2. I could see it being tier 3. But it's just like it's never better than these two. Or it just doesn't hold a candle to them. And it doesn't do much anymore. Like I genuinely don't want to put it in Rogue. I don't feel like it's a good deck anymore.
It stinks. It stinks, guys. Like Trunks Jeter is a stinky pooey deck. I'm afraid it's done. Like you had your time. You're enjoying yourselves in set 16, set 17, whatever. You're done, guys. Just go switch to Golden Freezer. It's fine. I won't judge you too hardly. Just be done with it. It's fine.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, it could definitely be Rogue. What'd you say, sorry?
Or just play Go Bros.
Or just play Go Bros. We'll stick it in
the
Rogue.
same thing.
We'll stick it in Rogue. I guess Gotenks is in Rogue, actually, yeah. If Gotenks and Turtle Skull are in Rogue, Trunks Cheetah should probably be in Rogue.
Oh, the flipping Latin America special, Gotenks. Literally, the deck does nothing at all but just win over there, and then what else can you like? Everywhere else, I've never seen the deck past when it came out. Like, I don't even think that deck's Rogue. I think it's awful. There's so many better green options, but I guess it's just the green Saiyan lead attacks, right?
It is the green Saiyan lead attacks, exactly.
Yeah. What other hilarious decks have you put in, like, casual, local? I can't believe you put Halo Coup in locals / casuals.
This is only because of time rules. If time rules didn't exist, this is Rogue instantly. But you would have to. You have so many effects to resolve, and you have to explain what they all do. It's just not happening in a best of one.
Sus. Absolutely sus.
Best of 3, you win game 1, and then recycle Halos for a long time game 2.
Get both those cell decks into tier 0. Absolutely broken. Ginger Town Cell is going to take Euros. It's confirmed.
Yeah, for sure.
It's, like this is like the era of green decks, which just have to jump about through 15 different hoops to just do a very simple thing that I don't know. Golden Freezer does on turn 1. I don't know.
They had this whole hype announcement of like, don't worry guys, green's gonna be good, and then they brought out Gohan and Go Bros, and then they brought out this.
They went green's gonna be good, and then they reskinned Sin as a green deck, and then went, don't worry, hand control, what's that about? I don't know. And then you've got your actual trash tier.
Yeah.
Red Android 17 Invoker. Is actual. That's some Pete bait, isn't it?
That is exactly. I was gonna put it in tier 4. I was debating between tier 4 to 5, and I thought if I put it in tier 5, it might trigger Peter. So here we are.
There's your explanation, guys.
Yeah.
It is better than tier 5, but we need to find a way of poking the bear.
It could definitely be tier 4.
I feel like both Baba and SS4 Goku are in there also to trigger Damien. Have you just made a triggering tier?
I didn't even think of those ones. I put Miracle Strike Gogeta because I know that's his favorite leader as well.
This whole tier list is just to bait people.
Yeah.
I can't. Baba tier 0 on webcam. Whatever, play it on webcam. I'm not fussed. I'm not fussed. Just to bamboozle people, sure, go for it. Overall, I can't lie, it's a pretty decent list. There's a couple of memes in there, I won't lie to you. But most importantly, have you enjoyed building this tier list?
Of course. It was fun having to actually like form solid opinions on different decks.
And most importantly to you guys at home as well, like, have you enjoyed the tier list?
True.
It's pretty obvious content, but it gets these kind of discussions going, which I think is the most important thing about them, is they kind of facilitate the content. They're not like, you know, just sitting there placing leaders in tiers and then going, yeah, whatever, do what you want.
And I feel like I wanted to do it specifically because obviously it's the release date of the anniversary box, and there's a regionals next weekend. So for those of you looking to play some decks for the regionals, I'd say these are the good options.